Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes, Lakshmi.
Okay, great. Okay, so last class we have seen for the user, we have created a brand new user, and that user we have assigned an analyst role basically. So it is a user, and for this role user we have assigned a HR analyst role basically, and this analyst role give access to uh, uh, transaction analysis for HR transaction analysis. It means this person should be able to have some access to create some reports basically. So what we do, we are going to log in as this user, and remember we have assigned a job role here. If we assign a job role here, typically what happens, it gives access to some screens and also give access to some transaction analysis. Basically it means access to some subject areas and few things, but this job doesn't give access to the data because it's not a data role, it's just a job role. Okay, so let us see how does it work. So I am logging out as this HCM IMPL9, and I'm going to log in as this user. When I log in as this user, and I will go to the BS server. How do I go to BS server? Basically, I can append analytics at the end. It means it's logs me to the BS server. So I log into the BS server with report user RB. Okay, and this user can create some analysis now because we have the analyst role, HR analyst role assigned. That's what we did assigned last week. So when I go to new and we go to analysis, this person should be able to access some subject area basically. So let us see what subject area this person has access to. So this person has access to some subject areas came along with the HR analyst role that we have assigned to basically. So what I will do, I will go and access some subject area, workforce management, person real time subject area. Okay, and then I will try to create some report as this user. Okay, so let's see what data we can pull it off. Okay, so these are the subject area. This subject area has these many dimension folders, and every dimension folders has some attributes or sub-dimension folders and some attributes. These attributes can be facts and measures. Facts means the direct columns. Measures means which is based on the derived column basically with some functionalities. Okay, so what I will do, and also this dimension can have sub dimensions, right? So it has sub dimensions. I will take a person name, and I will take first name and last name just like that. Okay, so again this user we have assigned a HR analyst job role. We haven't assigned any data role. We have assigned HR analyst job role. That job role just gave access to this subject areas. Okay, and as we have access to subject areas, we are able to create the report. Let us see what data it will pull off for this user. Okay, so it is pulling off all the employees' first name and last name information, right? So right, so let's see. It is giving all the information here. Typically what happens if we haven't assigned the proper data role, and if data role is not assigned and if only job role is assigned, typically only the person can see only his data, and this person should not able to see any other data. Only if the proper data roles are assigned, in that case this person could able to see all the other information here. Okay, so this person could be able to see all other information, and Okay, so we pulled it from the person real time dimension folder, basically from dimension folder. In the person dimension folder, we have some sub dimensions, person address and person names. Under the person names, we took some details and dragged and dropped here. That's what we have done. Okay, so now this list of subject areas, what this person is seeing here, this again came from the job role. And how do we know which job role have access to which subject areas? How do we get that? For that, typically what you can go do, you can always go to Fusion Apps OER, Fusion Apps Enterprise Repository. Another Fusion Enterprise Repository, you can always go to the respective areas, human resource of financials, whatever. And under the reports, you can go to release 13. And under the release 13, we have analyze and report. If you click on analyze and report, we have every ways we have review financials, BS subject areas. If you click on this, typically it will log into the Oracle Customer Connect. And here we have the Excel sheet. This Excel sheet will say about the security and also the explanation of each and every subject area. So it's the financial subject areas book, subject area book. So what it will do, it will give explanation of the subject area, what is the subject area and what is the description of subject area and what is the key business questions that we need to use the subject area, at what scenarios we have to use the subject area. Example, we have budgetary control balance real time. It is available at that release 13 and it's an ERP project, OTBI project. And we have the sub-product financial cloud and subject area description. This subject area provides real-time information about budgetary control balances, and this includes budget, consumption, reservation category, funds available, balance amounts, and control budget details. And key business questions: when should we use the subject area? This is the question. If you have a question like what control budgets are defined in the system for each ledger, or what are the characteristics of the control budget? If we have these kind of questions, then typically you have to this subject area. And how we can application navigation, typically with screen related to this subject area, then typically it gives this navigation. And also, does it give historical reporting? Historical reporting, does it give the history of the details? Yes, it will give. And if we talk about history, what is the time dimension anchoring transaction date? It is budget by budget period. It will give us the historical data. And does it have any special considerations? None. And what is the transactional drain? Basically, it is basically a table name. Now, not only this. So when we say subject area, it also gives security. Like if you want access to the subject area, then this access to the subject area comes from this duty role, and this duty role will come from this job role. If you have sent a budget manager job role, then typically you will get access to the subject area. So we have many job roles here. Basically, every job role brings access to some subject area. Example, if we filter out by account payables manager. So this account payables manager give access to all the subject areas. Give access to all the subject areas. Similarly, in my case, what I took the financial HR subject area, HR role. I have assigned human resource analyst role. Basically, if I go to analyze and report, and if I go to review HCM BS subject areas, and if I have this Excel sheet, this Excel sheet will explain me. So typically I have assigned human resource analyst role. So this role gave me the access to all the subject areas, basically all the subject areas. That is the reason this person could able to see all the subject areas when he clicked on it. So all the subject areas came up. All the subject areas came up because I have assigned this HR human resources job role to the user. That's how we got it basically. So, and every subject area explanation will be given here. Okay, so example, in my case, I took a workforce uh, so here we took the subject area of workforce management person real time. So if I filter by workforce management person real time, so this will explain basically. This will explain what is the subject area. It is available from release 12 and earlier. It is a part of a HCM product, and sub-product is core HR. And this is used to report workers' personal information such as worker address, emergency contact, phone numbers, email address, national ID, regional, ethnicity, and work permit. And typically, when do we need to use the subject area? If you have a questions like what is the distribution of my workers by ethnicity, by gender, by nationality, or religion, if that is a question for you, then typically it is subject area you have to refer to. If you want to get the worker's phone number, if you want to know when the worker's permit will expire, if any specific to these kind of questions, you can refer to this. And this subject area typically maps to this navigation. If you go to my workforce, person management, person and employment managed person, whatever information is there in this screen, typically those details will show up. So if I go to person management, in this person management, if I search for, that's what I'm saying, my workforce person management, and search for any employee. If you search for any employee, yeah, no person is coming up here. There's a reason for that. Because this person has no data role assigned yet. Okay, so typically what I will do, I will just quickly log out. So before assigning data role to the user, let's finish this navigation. If I go to my workforce, person management, and search for any employee, search for any employee, and open any employee. And if you go to these tasks, so once the employee is open, you have a task list there. If you go to the task list, it's still opening up. If you go to the task list, on the task list we have managed person. So whatever is showing up in that managed person screen, that information is more related to the subject area. That's the meaning of it. If you go to the task, in this task we have something called managed person here. If you click on the managed person, whatever information is showing up on the screen, though that information is typically more related to the subject area basically. So that's how we should look at. So here I can see personal information, I can see the contact information, I can see the disability information. In the personal information, I can see the name and address, national identifier, biographical information, communication methods, email, phones, ethnicity, gender, marital status. All this information is showing up here. So whenever we start working with the subject areas, that's how we should be navigating to. We should know what is the purpose of the report that we are writing yet. And once identify the purpose, once identify the subject area, then you have to go to security and identify by the subject area. So in our case, my subject area is workforce management person real time. So this workforce management person real time, I need to take out the filter from here as well, I guess. So this workforce person management person real time typically assigned to these two roles, human resource analyst role, line manager role. As we have human resource analyst role assigned to the person, we could able to see this subject area basically. That's as simple as such. So that's how we should start navigating or start working at our initial big initial way to kickstart it with subject area to choose. Once we choose the subject area, okay, and before going further, let me assign a good data role for our report person. So let's go to security console.
Lakshmi?
Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you please show us to assign a role in HCM or finance, because like we are new to this HCM. Like,
Okay. So you wanted to look at example.
finance. Yeah, we'll do one finance report or HCM. Anything is fine.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Yeah. So okay. So we can do that. Let's see that. So let me assign a financial role. Let us say we have the um, Australia finance analyst, Australia primary ledger. So let's do that. So I have assigned this role to this person, and basically this person has access to the Australia primary ledger. Let's also assign a role of to another uh, financial analyst, something from US. Okay, let's do this. So I have said these two things. So financial analyst, what will bring? So let's go to our financial subject area, and then let us see what does this financial analyst will bring along with us. So it is a financial analyst job role. This financial analyst job role is giving access to these three subject areas. We are getting general ledger balance real time, general ledger journals real time. So these are the subject areas it is giving access to. Okay. Example, if we talk about general ledgers, general real time. So what does this subject area brings along with? Let's go here and search for that. And why? Why do we need to use this? So this subject area provides detailed information that can be used to analyze general ledger journals, and the journals can be segregated based on their processing status. Okay, that's the description. And these are the key decisions that we need to use this. When do we need to use this? If you want to know what are the journal, if a client question is this, what are the journal entered and accounted amounts for a given account and period? What journals were created for a given account by a source of this period? So if these questions, basically, we can use this subject area. Okay. So we have assigned those subject areas to this person. Basically, my assumption is we are assigning analyst job role along access to Australia primary ledger. Similarly, I'm assigning financial analyst job role along access to US corporate ledger set to this user. Okay. So if I go and log in as this user now, typically, I should be able to access the financial analyst subject areas. Which are the subject areas? These are subject areas. That's what they should show. Okay, let us test it out. So logging out. So I'm logging in as user. Okay, so that roles are affected here. So how do I go to reports analytics? I can go to BSO directly from here, or I can go to reports analytics. And from here, if I click on report, and automatically I can land up in the BS server. Okay. Right. So let's see new analysis. Let us see. Okay. So these were not yet affected yet, because we are still seeing the old subject areas. The reason is the data, whatever changes we have done, they were not yet synced to the BS server, basically. So when the roles were not yet synced to the BS server, typically we can wait for few minutes, or typically we can run the send LDAP, retrieve LDAP changes jobs to make sure the roles are synced across all the nodes. That is the other way to do. So what I will do, I will try to enforce the syncing between all the nodes. So what I will do, I'm just logging out, and I will again log out here and log in as HCM IMPL user and run the send LDAP and retrieve LDAP changes jobs so that the roles will be synced in the BS server. So I'm going here, go to schedule process, schedule new process, and let's run the send LDAP process and retrieve LDAP process. So send LDAP process is the first one we need to run, and once that is done, we have to run the retrieve LDAP process. Okay, let's do that. So it triggered the couple of child jobs from send LDAP job. So it triggered the send prorated LDAP request. Prorated nothing but it will look for the changes happened since last month and keep pulling that. It looks like it is successful. So we are good. So next thing we have to run is to create update user roles in grants in LDAP. Next thing is to similarly whatever changes happened in the LDAP should be synced back to the syncing users within the LDAP. So let's do that. Retrieve LDAP changes. So in our previous instance, we have created request set for that, and we are running it every night basically. If you remember, we're talking about ESS, we have done that. So once the retrieve LDAP changes is done, I will log out and log in as report user, and that report user BA server should show the updated subject areas basically. While it is running, I hope Ravi has informed you that we are going to have a session for 1 hour daily. It's of 1 hour 30 minutes because I am having a cardio batch starting at 10:30 my time. So
Yes, no, actually he had not informed us.
did he inform yet? Okay, he said he will inform actually. So yeah.
Lakshmi, sorry, I missed it. What is starting? Well, you're starting something else?
Yeah, actually I'm starting the Talio. It is
okay.
Yeah, the recruiting and onboarding application basically.
So, was it from 7 to 8 o'clock, right? 7 to 8.
7 to 8.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I started early today.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so
how many classes are left, Lakshman?
So I'm assuming we have another, our classes might take till 25th, 28th of this month. And provided we need one additional class actually during the weekend, sometime maybe 2-3 hours. Any
Sure.
weekend.
And one more request, Lakshman. So, regarding FBDA, you haven't shown anything on finance, FBDA things. So, I'm expecting at least one example. During that point of time, also I asked you.
That is additional class actually. That's what I was asking for.
Yeah, FBDA means loading invoices or loading items, something like.
Yeah. So that's the extra class I was asking for to show the end-to-end integration along with the programmatic way of doing the stuff.
Exactly, means we'll see that integration in FBDA means how we are integrating.
Yeah, we will take that example only. So once I complete the outbound integrations, the BA publisher, then once I tell you how to call BA publisher through web service, then we can have a full round integration testing. So yeah, for that only I need some weekend, maybe any weekend this month. So whenever everyone has availability to take those additional classes, basically, maybe around 2-3 hours.
It'll be same time in the morning, Lakshmi.
Uh, I mean, it's weekend is your preference. Whenever all of us has one common agreement, I can accommodate my time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Lakshmi.
Still running. Okay. Let it run. Maybe sometimes while it is running, we might have chances of that user getting updated. So let me go to report analytics. Let's see analysis now. If you see by any chance it got updated. Yes. No. Yeah, it's updated. See that? Now the subject areas came up actually. See this above subject areas actually custom subject areas. We are coming for every role actually. Don't worry about these custom things. Think about these subject areas. Financial common module, general ledgers, balances real time. So these subject areas, if you see the Excel sheet, these subject areas came up automatically for this user because we have the financial analyst role assigned. So out of this, maybe you guys can help me out here. So I am going to this general ledgers, journals real-time subject area. And this subject area, typically why we choose subject area? Because we have these questions. Our business questions are this. Basically, maybe we wanted to see what are the journals entered and accounted amounts for a given account and period. If that is my question, basically, that is one of the questions. That is the reason I'm into this subject area. So I have the general batches, general headers, and general lines. So probably I will choose maybe one general ledger. Maybe I'll choose some account calendar name, the chart of accounts. I can just double click on it, it will come up automatically. Ledger currency, something like that. So if you click on the results, it should show up only the Australia and how do we know that the ledgers is for Australia and US? Maybe US is corporate. Maybe the corporate is giving access to all the currencies. So basically, what should happen? Whatever the ledgers are defined in that whatever that we have chosen for US corporate and Australia, those things should show up in our data basically. So that's how the security will work. Now coming to the reality of this, the how to create a report, how we can play around with the report, and then we can start seeing how we can visually represent the data basically. So now, as I was saying before, with the subject area, the subject areas will have dimensions. Quickly, let me walk through that. So we finish the subject area. We have the subject areas. So each we have subject areas. So each subject area consists of folders, right? And each folders contains columns representing the attributes. Attributes nothing but the columns, right? So that is the typical structure we have. And each subject area, each folders can have a subfolders too, right? And if you see that the terminology here, subject areas and folders are called dimensions, and sometimes we define hierarchies. I will talk about that. And everything here called attributes. Attributes are two types: facts and measures. Basically, facts and measures means if something is defined based on a column of a table column name, that is called fact basically, and something is defined derived, basically new salary or create salary, which is defined based on the actual salary, that can be called as a measures basically. Okay, and one thing we have to understand is in the subject areas, whenever we see a subject areas, basically most of subject areas ends with real time. Most of subject ends with real time. Take any subject area that is ends with real time. So typically what we need to do whenever we create any analysis in our Fusion applications, whatever subject area is ending with real time, we have to use that specific subject area only. If you see any subject area which is not ending with real time, we have to double check before using that. The reason is, why is the real time? Basically, as I said, OTBI typically hit the transactional database. It's the real online database, basically where the real updates happens, real inserts happens, right? That is called a real-time subject area, basically. So any subject area ends with real time has to be used in our report creation. That is very important. Okay, and I'm bringing here the HCM subject areas. Basically, we have I mean every module has their own subject areas, and this one can be derived from this Excel sheet too. Basically, the sheet also gives same information. Basically, what is the purpose of each subject area? Okay, and coming to the dimension folders, basically whenever, as I said, every folder is called as a dimension folder, and every dimension folder has list of attributes. Okay, example, if we say worker subject area, in the department is a dimension. Within the department, we have a sub dimensions. Example, department identifier and department additional identifiers are attributes. And within department identifier dimension folder, we have the list of attributes. That attributes can be a facts and measures basically. Okay, so okay, that's a basic structure. Now let us see the columns on top of to this analysis area. You just open anything whatever you like to. You just double click on it and just drag it here, as simple as such. If you just drag it like here and double click here, automatically come up here. And again, the way it will be displayed on the screen is based on the dimension, folder name, and the attributes name. Example, if I choose something else, so let us say I wanted to choose legal entity name here. So if I choose a legal entity name, automatically it will show up the dimension, folder name, and as well as the attribute name here. Okay. Now, if you go to the results here, typically what happens, it combines the data from multiple dimensions together, and the queries are built inside. Automatically, the joins happens, and data will be displayed here like this. Basically. Okay. So it is a data. If you see here, every data has a hyperlink allocated here. What does it mean? What does it mean? You can drill down. Example, if you want to search data by Australian currency, if I click on it, it will go down and will only show up the Australia ledger details basically. If you go to the criteria again, automatically you'll see the filters applied here. It is saying that ledger is in AUD and chart of accounts is equal to ANZ chart of accounts. So these filters applied automatically as and when you drill down in this thing. If you want to get that back, you just go here and just uncheck the filters, then automatically you could be able to see all the information here. You could be able to see all the respective information here. Okay, and how do we get those properties? How do we get the hyperlinks enabled there? So those hyperlinks will be enabled. Example, if I go to the ledger name, if I click on the column properties, so here we have the interaction. This interaction will say you want to drill down. Whenever the column opens up, you want to drill down, or you don't want to drill down. There is something called action links. I will talk about later. If you click on that one, do you want to happen something else? Do you want to navigate somewhere, or do you want to pull some other report? How the drilling should happen? Those things will be decided based on this. So default is drill, or you can say none. It means you cannot click on that one. Or drill means you can drill down further. That OTBI will automatically apply the filters, and you can drill down. And action links is different. We have to do a different setups actually. If I click on that, you have to define how the navigation should go basically. I will talk about it later. Okay, so you can go by column heading drilling or by value drilling. Within that column we have a number of values. You can go by values as well. Okay, there is something called master detail. Even for that I will talk about it later. Okay, so now the style. Every column we can define a style. What family, what font that column data should look like, what size it should look like, and what color the font should have. And do you want to keep any effect, underline, strike through? So we can keep everything by font, or you can define by cell, or you want to define by border. And you can also keep custom CSS styles if you want on top of it. Example, if you want to use custom CSS style, typically you have to write that CSS tags here. And if you have custom CSS class, you can apply this custom CSS class here basically. Maybe the way you want to show the data in the front end basically. Okay, and
Lakshmi, what is custom CSS means? So do we need to create anything or
example here, CSS is nothing but we have a font family here. You want to apply different font family, or you have the effects here. You want to apply different effect. So if anything want to define apart from what is given here, those things will go by custom CSS style options basically. So here we can, if we have custom CSS, basically it doesn't depend with the Fusion application basically. Every browser will render the data, whatever custom CSS style you give here, that whenever this page opens up in the browser will take the CSS style and renders it and show the data over the screen. I will try to.
do you have any custom CSS for handy now to show us as a reference or as an example?
I don't have anything handy basically, but I will get it something maybe some next session later. But we are going to see this in detail when I talk about bar charts and pie charts.
All right then, yeah.
Okay. Right. So we have additional formatting options. If you wanted to have, if you wanted to keep the width and height, if you wanted to have left padding and right padding, top padding and bottom padding based on width and height, you can apply those things basically over the cells and over the cells of the columns what we are displaying it. So let me keep some bold color for this which column I'm choosing. I'm trying to choose ledger name. So do you want to keep the same column heading, or you want to keep custom heading, and or do you want to apply some HTML markups on top of it? So if you want a custom heading, then I can say RB ledger name. Or you don't want to show the headings at all, so you can hide it. So headings won't show up actually. And data format, typically it's a plain text. So if you wanted to override the default data format, you can always override it. So typically plain text don't break spaces. It means that if there any spaces are there, then basically sometimes what happens, two spaces can be considered as one space. And plain text means it won't consider any breakups. If two or three spaces are there, everything will get printed basically. So typically we won't use much this one. You can just for information. And conditional formatting. So maybe example, if ledger is US, you want to show it in red color. Example, let us say if ledger name is in, so what ledgers we have chosen here. Sure. let's do one thing. I don't know what data is there, so to go to results here. So typically we are showing the ledger name in this blue color basically. For example, let us say my conditional formatting, if it is Australia, if example, if ledger name is Australia ledger, or currency is color. If ledger currency is GUR, show the whole line in different color. Example, if that's my criteria. So let us say AUD and it is GUR. That is one thing. And observe one more thing here. If you see here, what is happening, this account accounting calendar name, this calendar name, we have these many ledgers basically. So all these ledgers came up in this accounting calendar, like they got merged out, because under this accounting calendar we have these many rows. What if you wanted to have accounting MMY show up for each and every row? How do you want to get that? How can you do that? Why it is coming like this? Similarly for USD, under this accounting calendar name, under this chart of accounts, under this currency USD, we have these many ledgers, and USD had displayed only once, and all these things displayed multiple times. I mean, for every single line. Why it came up? What is the reason for that? The reason is, again, you define in the column properties. If you go back, again, you go to accounting calendar name. In the column properties, if you go to the data column format, here you will have see value suppression. Suppress means if the same values are repeated for this value, for this column, suppress it. Don't display multiple times. If you want to repeat it, then in that case, if you go back to the results, then this name will keep repeating for every line. Same applies to chart of account, same applies for ledgers, and same applies for everything. So let me go back and apply for chart of accounts too. Repeat it, don't suppress it. And for currency also, repeat it, don't suppress it. Now again, for the currency, I'm going to apply some conditional formatting. So ledger currency, if ledger currency is in AUD. So if it is AUD, then what I wanted to do. So what I wanted to do, if it is AUD, then you want what color you want to show that. Okay, maybe I wanted to show that in a different color. Okay, so the background color, maybe something I wanted to show, something like that. If you go to results, then it will show the data in this color. Basically, this cell is coming up in this. If it is AUD, it is coming up this. Humanity is coming up like this. So that color formatting you can define at each and every column level, basically. Now, okay, we have seen that formatting. Okay, and we have many things we can do in the formatting. So it's just introduction. So don't worry about that. Coming to the criteria. So here, to whatever data is coming up here, how we can apply the criteria. Example, I want to show the data of the specific ledger currency, or I wanted to show the data of specific ledger name. How I can do that? How we can apply the filters? Is nothing but a where condition. How you can apply the where condition? You can apply the where condition in two ways. If you have a where condition already defined somewhere, you can get that, or you can go here and frame the where conditions here. How we can do that? maybe I wanted to click this, and we have filter. In the filter, you can define the condition. So what is the operator? You want to is equal to in, less than, greater than, what you wanted to do. So if it is a is equal to in, then you can go to the value and you can choose what values you wanted to display. And I want to display any these two. You can OK. Then automatically observe at the bottom, you can see the filter created here. Okay, and now we can see the data. Data will show up only based on those AUD and USD. And this filter, example, if wanted to write in a specific, if you want to write the same filters in a specific example, I'm going here. Instead of doing in this, I want to write in SQL format basically. Then what you can do, you can convert this filter into SQL, and you can write SQL here. Maybe ledger currency in UAD or some not in UAD. Whatever you want to write, you can write in SQL syntax as well. And you can use in operation and AND operation, and you have to keep getting the column names basically. So maybe if it's a ledger, maybe let's typically what I will do. I will add one more filter basically, and I can add filter from here, or I can go here and apply filter here as well. So just want to get this name. I can get it here, and I can go here and I can apply, and some like some, I don't know what are the currency names we have. So you can apply, you can write down like this basically, or we can, so I have writing AND operation like this, or what I can do, instead of writing AND operation like this, I will just keep it like what it is, and I'll go here and I will add a filter, and I will keep I'll say some US legal entity. Okay, and this AND operation will create automatically here. You want to make it as R operation, just click on it, it will become R. So these two conditions will be R conditions. And filters, you don't need to have only on these columns. You can also have filters on any of the additional columns. How we can do? You can go here and click on the filter, and you can go to more columns, and you can choose any column from here. Maybe you wanted to have the accounting year. Accounting year is greater than, maybe maybe greater than 2010, something like that, and you wanted to have something condition like that, you can apply in other conditions as well. Okay, so here yeah, I mean, you can have it like this, or you can go and apply, you can create your SQL filters as well, and if you go to results, then these filters will get applied automatically, and data will show up accordingly over the screen. So here ledger name is repeating here. I can go to this column properties and suppress it. Similarly, I can go in column properties and suppress it. I can do that. Now another way these filters, whatever filters we have here, we can save these filters. Once we save the filters, what happens is I can use this filter somewhere else. Example, I'm saving this filter. While saving the filter, I will go and save it in my typically it is generally is better to use it in respect. Example, in the custom we have general ledgers real time, general real time is there. But typically it's better to save it in the same custom subject area, so that next time you will know that this filter is specific to this subject area. It is easy for you to do that. So I will just say hobby general filter one, something like that. I can OK. And if I go home, let me save this one as well. So I'll save it in shared folders, system, and then take tab 3, and then I will share this reporter as so hobby GL journals, yeah, analysis 1. something like that. I'm saving it. If I go home, I got it. So I got my filter saved as well. So typically, where is this filter stored at? It is stored at this location. I'll just copy it from the reference. Okay, so if I go and create new analysis now, if I go and create new analysis, if I go and create another general subject, general ledgers, general real-time subject area, if I go and create it, in that I can reuse my filter there. Basically, I can create whatever I want it to. So if I want, I can whatever data I'm printing it, so I can have that. And on top of it, on this data, if I wanted to apply the filter, so what typically I can do, whatever a filter I have already saved, I can use the data. And if I want to get the filter, typically I can go here. I can go here, shared folders. The shared folders, I have my custom. In the custom, we have what is it? Underscore filters. Let me see only the filters. Let me navigate. Oh, this is a filter. So let me do. Let me save it in my folders. So I'll save it in the custom. I will save it in batch tree. I will save it here. Okay. So if I go here again, then in the custom. I can get my filter here and I can throw it here. So yeah, my filter got here. So now what happens, whatever data here on this data, this filter will get applied and I can see my data accordingly here. So we can reuse the filters basically. So once we create the filter, if you have a complex condition, you can have the complex condition get created and saved it at common location. And once we have that saved, then we can, whatever analysis we are creating, we can have that filter applied in our analysis to show up the data. Okay, it is coming up. So now, if we still coming up. Okay, so now let us talk about some real scenarios. Typically, if you create any report, once you create the report, we won't just go like that, like, okay, this is the report, it is the data. It need to take some parameters, or it need to, it might take parameters in the date format, or it can be take a parameters in the list of values, or can be like anything, right? So in that case, what we can do, how we can play around with, how we can ask for the user to enter the inputs while generating the data, how we can do that, right? So what we can do for that, let me go back to, let me save this one. Okay, so let me go back and then open up the previous one. I'm opening it up. Let us say I wanted to ask the user to enter while running the report. I want user to ask for the currency, basically. Example, okay. So let us say, remove the filter as well. While running the report, maybe I wanted to show the journals for the currency euro. I want at runtime I want to choose the currency, and based on that, data should come up automatically. How can you do that? For that, typically what happens is we have something called prompts. In the prompts, we can define the variable, runtime variable, on which the data can show basically. So that can be based on the column prompt, or that can be based on variable prompt. What is a column prompt? Example, if I go by column prompt, so it is my label. I can define my custom label. Example, choose ledger currency. Example, and say that choose ledger currency. And how do you want to make it? You want a choice list or checkboxes? How you want to make it? Maybe you want a choice list. And how you want to display the data? Do you want it to enable user to select multiple values? Yes, you want to enable it. And do you want it to require user input it? Yes, it's required. I click on OK. And if I click on save, it will come up like this. I'm saving it. Okay, go home. And if I open it, then it'll ask for the choose currency here. So here I can choose the currency, what currency I want it to display, basically. So I can choose everything. Click on OK. Then typically it will open up for everything, basically. Okay. Right. So we'll continue with the remaining visual analytics tomorrow, and I think my batch is going to start now. We'll meet again tomorrow at 7 o'clock our time. Thanks for joining.